When it comes to tweakers and alcoholics, those are two groups where people will con and connive and twist and manipulate, and for two very different reasons. The alcoholic is doing so because they have deprived their brain of oxygen and they're not thinking straight. They'll change their mind 10 times in 10 minutes if they want, or if their oxygen level is so depleted. Now the tweaker, they're manipulating you into going places because they want to get their drugs. They're going to say, hey, my mama's sick, I got to go and pawn this and I got to go and pawn that. And once they got all that stuff pawned, then, I got to go over to this house here, and you end up running around all night because tweakers are tweakers. So when it comes to tweakers asking for rides, I do say no. It's a matter of safety. Now, last night it was not a tweaker that was the problem. It was an alcoholic. Not easy to deal with. And it started off easy enough. She wanted to ride home, so of course I gave her a ride to where I thought it was her home. She said it wasn't. I said, why did we come here? All right, where are we going now? So she just needed a ride from Hood River to a place in White Salmon. And so I took her to White Salmon. Well, then it's like 23 miles outside of White Salmon. So I drive 23 miles outside of White Salmon. It's not her place. So then she's got to come into the Dalles. So I'm like, all right, I'm eating up a lot of funds here, and I'm, by the way, down to half a tank. I just filled it up yesterday. So I came back to the Dalles, and when I got here, she had like 3 different places she wanted to stop. And then it turns out she bought a bunch of Four Locos, and she's wanting to look for a party. I don't know what the hell was going on. I mean, from that point, it was basically just she had some family that she was going to try to stay with here in the Dalles. So we went down to where her family hangs out. They're homeless. And her nephew said, well, Auntie, we can't take you nowhere. I'm couch surfing myself, and I don't have a couch tonight. So anyway, they were nice to me for taking care of her, but I'm really not taking care of her at that point. I'm just trying to find a safe place for her to go. Oh, that's cool. It says Black Rock City 2022. I give a fuck about you. That's cute. Little wooden nickel. Alright, so this lady, I know her from Hood River, and she's always super sweet. She's a really nice lady, and she hasn't been mean or nothing. She's just drunk on that Four Loko. You're talking about 12 to 14% alcohol. It's quite a bit. And, one of the biggest things that I worry about in the situation is her becoming a statistic. So we got to make sure that that does not happen. She's not a statistic, she's a person. So getting her to a safe location, that turns out to be a very complicated situation in and of itself. Holy shit. So then this morning, all right, I explained to her when we got here last night that I needed to get some sleep, and that if she let me sleep for 2 hours, just 2 hours, I'd be well enough to drive. Well, that didn't happen. She wanted literally all night, she wanted to take my phone because she wanted to listen to music, but then she keeps pushing it against her head and pressing advertisements. So then she's got 30 advertisements all popping up on my phone, and she doesn't understand why it is that I won't stop while I am in the middle of traffic trying to not get us into an accident, and she wants me to mess with the phone right then and there to try to get a song that she wants to hear. And I know that in 30 seconds she's going to press that damn thing against the side of her head. She's going to mash her earmark into the side of my phone, or into the front of my phone, and it's going to go to another advertisement. So there's also the fact that she hit it so many times with her ear that it just was playing multiple advertisements at once and driving me nuts while she's talking to me, wanting me to fix it. And she's aggravated, she's talking excited, and she's, using her angry voice, but it's not directed at me. And I understand this. I understand that her anger was directed to the fact she wanted to listen to George Thorogood, and she wasn't able to get it working. Well, she just kept on doing the same exact thing. I'm like, hey, if you want to listen to the song, you have to leave the phone alone. You have to set the phone down and leave it there. If you keep touching the face of the phone, you're going to keep on going to all of those advertisements. And I literally had to pull off the side of the road 5 times last night. 5 times, just to make sure that the phone was going so that she wouldn't be screaming, not at the top of her lungs, obviously, but she's not angry at me. She's angry at the fact that she wants the phone to work right now. She wants that song to play right now. And no matter how many times I pull over, I know she's just going to take my phone and stick it to the side of her head, and it's going to start all over again. Anyway, when we run into our relatives, of course, this state here, you're allowed to do a lot of different chemicals that I'm not okay with. And then that complicates the situation, because the area that we're in, I can't just dump her off, regardless of the fact that there's family there. I'm like, God, this is a giant pain in the butt. And I get there's people out there who are like, oh, you should just drop her off and forget about her. If you're in town, just leave her there. There's plenty of people there. If she's from the area, she ought to know them. She can find somebody she knows. And yeah, that's true. Right now, she's in an area where she hangs out with the homeless people, but she lives somewhere. She says she has her own house, but then she doesn't. She doesn't want to go home because she lives with all men. She's the only woman there. So this morning when I tried to go to sleep, I pulled over into the Fred Meyer parking lot here in the Dalles. This is a lot of driving. My car is on its last leg. This is not a nice thing to do to the poor thing. Well, she bugged me about every 10 to 15 minutes the whole time I was trying to sleep. And then I'm able to get almost 20 minutes of sleep. And I wake up to, she's opening up another Four Loko. I'm like, holy shit. And she's got another one there. So, of course, my car is parked right now. It's not going anywhere until those Four Lokos are not in my vehicle. I'm not having her cracking another one and drinking it going down the road. That's not okay. I'm not going to fucking get arrested for that kind of insanity. No. If she wants to get herself in trouble, that's one thing, but she's not going to get me in trouble for her drinking. That's not okay. And last night, there was a situation where I was looking for my phone. And of course, with people being on chemicals, it can be a very volatile situation. And I'm just looking for my phone. I mean, I know for a fact that I was the last one to have the phone, right? So what I'm doing is I'm looking in the 3 places that I know that I've been since I last remember using my phone. Now, one of them was my vehicle. One of them was my man purse, and one of them was over on the other side of the berm, because it's like one of these out there, and had the rocks and stuff on the other side. So I was sitting right about here, and I checked on the other side of it to see if the phone was over there. And that's where his aunt was sitting. So he got angry and was, well, you guys get to hear that stuff. You know, what he thought was that I was accusing him of being a thief because he's native, which is definitely not the case. Matter of fact, where I left it wasn't next to him, and it wasn't next to his aunt, and I didn't check next to him because I wasn't next to him. I was next to his aunt. Now, there was about, I don't know, 3 foot between us or so it wasn't like I was like, all right, well, could you move your butt and look behind you or anything like that? It was just, did I leave my phone over there thing. But then, of course, it's one of those situations where, you know, basically he's trying to say I'm low-key calling him a thief. I'm like, no, I'm not. He was very kind to me other than that. You know, there was about, I don't know, 5 of us down there all together. And all of these folks are either friends of hers or her nephew. So she's comfortable in the situation. Of course, I'm fine with if that's where she wants to go. That is her family. If she wants to be dropped off there, I'm willing to do that. But they're explaining to her that they're homeless. They can't take her anywhere. And for her having a house but not having a house, and it being a complicated situation, and also with the fact that I don't do those chemicals and I don't drink, and this lady is drinking in my vehicle, and I'm telling her, you need to, we're gonna pull over and pour that out. We can't have you drink in my vehicle. We can stop by the side of the road and let you drink it if that's what you're hell-bent on doing, but I can't be driving with you drinking alcoholic beverages in my vehicle. With her snorting a line or whatever the hell it was, that's a creepy situation for me too. Now, she didn't do that in my vehicle, and she didn't have it on her. But usually if I find somebody who's, this is not where I was intending, fuck it, there's a parking lot to walk across. Anyway, that lady this morning, she wanted to come see another one of her relatives down at the homeless camp here in Dallas. So when I woke up this morning to her, well, trying to get me to drive her to, God, what is it? First it was White Salmon, then it was the river, and then she wants to go home, and then, you know, it's a really, 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 really long and expensive favor so far. And then, of course, there's people with attitudes. So they got breakfast down there for the homeless folks. And one of the ladies who's usually alright, she went and got her breakfast. And get this. They got cherry cheesecakes for breakfast here. Apparently they had like one pie that was donated that it looked really good. And I said how good the pie looked. And the lady started going off about if she wanted commentary, and I don't know, she probably went off for, I want to say 5 minutes, but it was probably only 2 or 3. Well, that's far too long to be getting butthurt about somebody thinking that something looks good. Now, this lady has, of course, seen things that she thought looked good, that she said that she thought they looked good in front of me, and of course, I'm not getting angry with her for it. And I know that a lot of this is to do with addictions and coming down, and a lot of the mentality out here on the streets where, morning Pink, your idea of a support group is AA. You go to that support group and you guys aren't supporting each other. You're whining about your own shit. You're wanting your turn to bitch about your own shit. You fucking support groupers. Oh my God, you're the toughest people to get through to. Like, yeah, comparing stories isn't help. Telling me about your abuse does not help me out with my situation. None of the help I need, none of it requires me knowing your whole fucking life story. If you're gonna help somebody, you need to know theirs. A lot of these folks got a hold of me because they wanted help. They wanted help. They wanted to act like they were gonna help me, but then of course, with most of them, it turns out they got somebody they're missing that they want to help finding, and they want me to say something. So I try. Not that anybody will listen to me. They might. And if they do, well, that's good for you. It is good for you. The harder we try to find folks, the more of these folks we're going to find before they end up in the ground, before they end up dead. Right now, I deal with a lot of hell from a lot of people over a lot of narratives that ain't true. Narratives that I've literally never been allowed to defend myself against in the media or in court of law. And that all comes down to how much of a human you believe me to be. I'm a lot nicer person in person than I am on the internet. But even in person, I am who I have to be when I have to be it. If I don't have to be mean, I'm not mean. I don't want to be mean to anybody. When people are getting hurt, yeah, you know what? If cursing is what it takes for you to fucking look, then goddamn it, I'll fucking curse, you stupid pieces of... You see how easy that is? And if I scream it, holy hell. But despite the fact that it's an attempt to get help, because speaking doesn't get me heard. Just like with them, speaking doesn't get them heard. Anyway, I'm starting to walk back towards the homeless place. Hopefully that woman will be done. That lady, sorry. I've had several of the women out here tell me not to call them ladies. They're not ladies, they're women. And I've had several of the ladies down here say not to call them women. It's disrespectful. Of course, I don't call them women, but you understand the sentiments, I hope. If somebody finds that to be disrespectful, I can see how and why, and I'm fine. It's when we start having to change the entire language, depending on who we're talking to, and you don't know which interpretation and what words this particular person is going to be brandishing. How they'll change their meanings depending on whether it's you or them. Getting yelled at and bitched at this morning over shit that I don't care. It's just a cheesecake. I used to work at the Cheesecake Factory. I like the cheesecake. But at the same time, I'm not going to flip out over somebody or flip out on somebody over a cheesecake. When it comes to lying to me, that's something I'm not going to be happy about. And depending on the severity of the lie and its bearing on current events, well, all of that increases your likelihood of getting put up on my YouTube channel. Creating a safety issue for people around you, that would go up on my YouTube channel as well. So, yeah, don't lie to me and don't abuse people, especially at-risk individuals such as youth, the elderly, and the disabled. And y'all need to stop messing with the homeless. Things that you say that you should do to the homeless, you guys have no idea how much hatred is harbored against the homeless out there. How much of this we take. You guys want to talk trash about all the homeless as if all the homeless are these addicts, and they're not. And you got two women who were both in domestic violence situations. One of them 10 years ago, and she's been homeless ever since. And then one who is recent, and she's trying to get help. Yeah, that lady who had her issues over a decade ago, who's still out here. For her to try to make the show about her, because at that point, it is a show. You've got a woman who's trying to get help, and then she's got 5 peanut galleries telling her what she needs to do and what she should do. They're also, when she's saying she needs somebody to go in with her, these other women are telling her, oh no, it'll never work. You can't get anybody to go in. Lady, she's asking you. She is asking you in specific if you will go in with her. And instead of making the connection, instead of going, you know what, it fucking felt like shit when I was beaten by my husband and I was trying to get help and nobody would listen. I told him, I need help. I need someone to go in with me. I need help. And no, it didn't happen. To this day, nobody's gone in with her to help her with that shit. We're all supposed to have, these government agencies that help us. Oh, they help you out with that paperwork, and then it's all said and done. Or, well, you don't count how many times you go into those services because it's a maybe, and then a no. All because you repeatedly had to go in by yourself. And then you got some upper middle class white kid who's on disability because their daddy spanked them. And why do they have disability despite the fact that they're just a bitch? Well, it's because mommy and daddy went in with them to get a doctor that assigned that fucking piece of paper. Then you got people out here who have real disabilities, real trauma. And you've gotten to see them on my channel. You get to see that the gateway drug ain't pot, it's trauma. I'm not out here doing the drugs. I'm not out here doing the drinking. I'm not out here ripping people's ass for no reason. Almost every time I raise my voice out here, you guys got to hear me do it. Like that guy that was hitting Jamie over there at the homeless place. I was the only one to speak up. Why has it always got to be that way? You guys say it's never okay to hit a woman, and then you're going to sit around and watch? You're going to watch it like it's a Tyson fight? You're going to watch this man who is almost twice her height following her around and punching her in the back of the head, and that's what you're going to do? You know what? You're bad dogs. You need to bow your head in shame, and you need to tuck your tail between your legs. You're going to be like that. Physically, I can't fight back. I am too screwed up physically to defend myself. And I'm the one standing up to that guy. Why is that? Guys know how I am about wasting time. A lot of people, they got good intentions, just like I had good intentions with that drunk lady. I had the intention of taking her home so that she could sleep in her own house, in her own bed, and that's the way that she made it out to sound. That's where she was going. That's what was going to happen. I did not expect it to be, 12 hours later, and I'm still trying to help her get, 10 hours later, I'm still trying to help her get home to wherever that happens to be, because she's still drunk. What am I supposed to do? Just drop some drunk native woman off anywhere? No, you can't do that in America. You cannot do that. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but a lot of the stuff that I post up is about missing and murdered indigenous people. This is a national epidemic. You look at the situation in Hardin, Montana. I reported on that 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago now. I'm not against people doing their drinking. I'm not against them, doing whatever it is with their personal lives that they want to do. A lot of people out here who live in houses do exactly the same thing as those addicts that you guys want to point in all of our faces. Every time something goes wrong, every time you want to look away, you point out some person who is loud and proud about being strung out on heroin or strung out on meth or drunk as a skunk. And it's not like they're screaming, hey, I'm on meth or hey, I'm drunk. It's the fact that their behaviors are showing that they are obviously on meth or obviously drunk. And then you guys want to point those people out as an excuse to harm all of us. I want you to imagine something. Let's say a black man walks into your establishment and he steals your tip jar off of the counter. Do you tell all black people they can't come into your establishment? Now I'm going to tell you a true story that's happened at many establishments that I've gone to. A homeless person steals a tip jar. Usually somebody who's drunk or on meth. It's usually somebody who's got an addiction that they need to have fed. And they steal the tip jar, and that establishment will stop serving homeless people. Oh, we had a homeless person come in here once and steal our tip jar, and none of you people are allowed in here now. That you people stuff. Beautiful. Then I look at MMIW and how few numbers they really have. And I look at BLM and how few numbers they really have. And I go, why aren't these groups working together? Because BLM is focused on black issues. And MMIP is working on indigenous issues. What we need is coordination. What we need is people actually working together, not just good intent. You need to know what the problem is before you can find a solution. That's the problem with most of you idiots. You're too busy throwing around ideas based on nothing. Based on what your granddaddy told you. Well, you may think that your granddaddy is the biggest, bestest, greatest, and brightest person on the planet. But there's a lot of other people think that about their grandpappy too. Segregation is still alive and well over on the East Coast. It's still alive and well in the middle of the country, and it's still alive and well here on the West Coast. And the reason for that is people believe in whatever their granddaddy told them. It's just insanity. Right now, I got my car parked in a place where I don't want it to be parked right now. But I can't drive my car with that lady and her 4 locos in it. Now she's fine, the Four Locos aren't. Four Loko is an alcoholic beverage, by the way, for those of you who don't know. And when she's maintained staying drunk enough that she can't remember that I said, hey, no drinking in my vehicle, no open beverage containers in my vehicle. And of course, it doesn't feel good to get snapped at about something, especially when it's saying that something looks good. Yeah, that cheesecake looks delicious. But you know what? That lady also got instant karma. It was still frozen when she took a bite into it. She got brain freeze. So, I don't know. I guess after ripping me for a couple of minutes for I don't know what. I don't need a commentary. All right. No commentary. I'll leave you to your peace and quiet. If she'd done what my dad does, the really super long rants. I'm pretty good at those, ain't I? If she'd have done that, her cheesecake would have been thawed and ready to eat. Hey, look at the bright side, Sean. When I talk about real poverty, you know, I'm talking about real poverty, actual poverty. Of course, there's a lot of these folks who call themselves or consider themselves impoverished, really have quite a lot. They have a lot of solid assets that are falling apart. You know, you could have easily 5 or 6 nice boats in your yard that you could work on and sell and sail and all sorts of stuff. But if they're just sitting there for 20 years, filling up with water, getting blow dirt blown in and seeds, and having stuff grow in them, and having the bottom fall out because there's that much dirt in them and that much water in them now, they just get old and they fall apart. No maintenance. I mean, some of the places that I've been out here that are considered extremely impoverished, yeah, it looks like a junkyard. But even a junkyard can make you money. You just got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to do the work. But I don't know what resources are out there. I know there was a fella like that outside of Nebraska, or outside of Chapel, and he was too old to do the work himself, and all of his kids moved away, so it just didn't get done. I'm hoping something decent will happen. I'm hoping when I get back to my vehicle, she'll be done with her Four Loko. Hoping. So now I'm headed back to my car, taking my dear sweet time because I'm hoping she'll sober up a bit. I mean, so far I've driven her from one end to, I don't know, we've probably made about 80 miles round trip so far or more. I'm hoping when I get back there, she'll know where she wants to go. I mean, it kind of feels like the situation in Hardin, Montana, where it ended up just being, hey, Sean does beer runs. I don't do beer runs. You said you needed to go to the grocery store. I took you to the grocery store. You came back with beer. You said you wanted to run in real quick and get something to eat, and you came out with beer. You go to the convenience store, same thing. At least some of the folks there in Hardin, Montana had the decency to tell me that they wanted to go to the liquor store. And in that situation, it's different. Do you know what the difference is between somebody conning you into going to the store so they can get liquor and somebody saying, hey, I want to go to the liquor store, get some liquor? It's a matter of being honest. I don't like being bullshit. I don't like being lied to, and I don't know many people who do. I'm also not fond of spending a whole bunch of gas and driving all over the place and getting absolutely nothing accomplished. I want that lady to be, well, safely with her family, wherever that may be. But even with family, it's not necessarily safely, especially if your family's at risk. She wanted to do the driving this morning. She said that she knows how to drive, but no, I can't let somebody who's drunk drive my vehicle. I went to the places that she said that she wanted to go, and of course none of those places will take her. She's not mean. Well, she wants to listen to music, and yeah, she has anxiety somehow, severe anxiety over that. Oh. Looks like we got some road workers with some signs or something. Or are those firemen? Looks like there's a fire truck right over there, so these are probably firemen. I wonder what they're doing. Trying to win a dirt bike, maybe? Fill the boot, donate today. Donate to what? What are we donating for? That's quite a racket. And yep, there was almost an accident there just now. Bonjour.
Hey, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Sean.
John. Thanks, Bonchita. Yeah, Sean. Yeah, I enjoyed talking to you the other day, and I was my sign talked about humility, and I didn't have it, and so, and I remember right. We're both on a positive seeking truth. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you, brother.
The horse bit, what's the significance?
What's that?
The horse bit around your neck.
To keep my big mouth shut and to quit stepping on people.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
pray for me? Can you pray for me
I can.
right now?
Well, that would be self-serving, but I can certainly do
Can you
that.
try it? You can leave your ego out of it. You're big enough.
I
man.
can. Let me absolutely turn my ego off.
Yeah. You see what my sign says?